Today we're going to look at some reviews of the last video, and then we're going to look at some facts and figures, and then we're going to look at some ways of improving things. This is going to be a really exciting. There's technical, there's rabbits, there's high definition, and there's everything you need to know about using Bluetooth headphone and RCA outputs. In case you're not sure what an RCA output is, that's an RCA output. So let's start with a review, shall we? I think there was a misunderstanding about what this was about. Anyway, let's see what they say. This video started life as a question on a Facebook cassette deck group. And paraphrasing the question was, is there an easy way to get Bluetooth headphones connected to a cassette deck? The answer was yes. First review. It's about as useful as a chocolate fire guard. There are so many things wrong with this. It's the first but ugly thing plugged in the front of the deck. Video should be banned. Don't do it. Has anybody used it on a Nakamichi? Wonder if it'd work. Why don't you just strap skis or quad bike and call it skidoo? I did it. It works. Seymour. Oh, it's a joke. I don't think so. Well, I see this went well over well. There's no aptX. The problem with a group like this is there are a lot of grumpy old men who think everything has to be done in a certain way. Lol. Keep it analog or sell it or something like that. Who wants analog sound? Oh, you know, what do you want? It might be preferable to stick pins in one's eyes and use the microphone for a secondary line in. I did, however, get a thank you from the guy who asked the question in the first place. On YouTube, I had some far more useful comments. I briefly covered this in the video, but I'll cover it again now. RCA is good, headphone output's not. And the reason people say that is because headphone outputs have been slagged off for years. Nobody actually knows. This won't take too long, so let's have a look at it the proper way. I've taken the output from there and I've put it into one of these, which you've seen before, and then I've done the same from the headphone socket. So what follows is what you can expect if you do it this way. On this, the top pair is the RCA output, the middle pair is the headphones, and the bottom is the USB output from this deck. Just to point to this little bit here, that's where I was setting the levels up. That's what that first bit's for, and it was slightly lower on the headphone output. Are you ready to stick the pins in your eyes, or are you just happy to put up with the butt ugly thing on the front? Let's get stuck into the figures. Starting with silence. You can see here there is a very small difference in the actual shape of the silence, but the actual numbers are the same. The headphone is slightly quieter. The USB output is actually quieter than either of them, but not by much. So I think that's a draw so far. Onto the white noise. So there's RCA, there's headphone. There's RCA, there's headphone. And then onto USB, and you can see that one's slightly different again. All three are different, but they're near enough the same, so another draw. RCA have got a win on the next one. Freezy sweep, RCA, headphone, RCA, headphone, USB. Again, different, but not enough to make a difference. I think the USB is being filtered quite heavily. And finally, the minus 20 dB sweep. RCA, headphone, RCA, headphone, USB. They're all three different again, but the headphone is flatter. If I had to call them in, it would be the headphone because of this particular output. But the noise figures are the same, the frequency response is basically the same. You're not going to hear any real difference. Having stuck the genie back in the bottle, if you want to go and have a look at this video, you'll find it's quite interesting. And there's another one up there you might just also like. But connecting to Bluetooth to cassette deck, very, very useful.